Lovely. Okay. All right, so it's your choice tonight. We're going to start with our breathing, but you can do it lying down or seated. I'm going to lie down. We are going to work with the diaphragm, so yeah, just whatever feels best for you. If you're lying down, just keeping the knees bent or just supported with something soft. Maybe bringing the hands to the body in either instance, so if you're seated or if you're lying down. And then we'll start to tune into the natural rhythm of breath. Gradually deepening the breath. See if you can lift the rib cage out into the hands. That's on the inhale. Exhale, just slow sigh to release. Again. And exhale. All right, so now I'll add a little bit more dimension to it. Let's do our 3-part breathing. So as you breathe in, lifting the belly first, then expanding into the rib cage, and then the chest on the inhale. And then we exhale slowly, chest, diaphragm, and belly. Okay? Breathing in, lift the belly, filling the lungs. When you reach the top of the chest, sip in a little bit more air, and then exhale nice and slow. Okay, and again. And whenever you're ready, exhale. Okay, and then from here, just allowing the breath to return to its natural rhythm. Okay, good. Well, if you're lying down, we can start by just moving the legs from side to side. If you're seated, maybe taking a few sun breaths. If you're lying down and you'd like to take a twist, maybe dropping the knees over to the side. Shoulders on the ground. And moving across the other side. All right, and then legs back to the center. Lovely. All right, again, if we're lying down, we can take a half wind releasing pose. If you're seated, we can take a forward bend, extending legs and fold forward. On your back, extending one leg and gather one knee into your chest. When you're ready, swapping sides. And then we'll come back into constructive rest pose. All right, let's roll over onto your side. If you need to, use the hands to press back up to a seated position. No, sorry, hands and knees. Not seated. On our hands and knees. Okay. All right, let's take a few cat-cows or a little bit of intuitive movement. If you find you just want to wiggle about a little bit, moving with the breath. Okay, and then finding your way back into a neutral spine, and we'll start to move the hips from side to side. So drawing that U shape with the pelvis. And maybe squeezing into the right sideways to draw the hips over to the right, and over the right shoulder. Okay, and then gently move it across to the left side, look over the left shoulder. Okay, and then back again. Lovely. Okay, let's stretch through the backs of the legs, extending one leg, come onto the ball of the foot, and we'll lengthen through the heel. All right, from this position, we'll move into a low lunge. Okay, if you know you want your blocks, maybe getting those set up before you step forward. Otherwise, move the foot right through between the hands. So taking the leg from the back all the way to the front. Placing your foot and then finding that long spine in low lunge. Okay, and then when you're ready, lifting up to the upper body. Hands together at the heart. We're lifting up. All right, with the breath, let's sweep the hands back down to the block or the floor, and then we'll walk back, okay? We'll walk the hands back rather, leave the leg where it is, and we can lift the toes up, taking our hamstring stretch. The blocks can be helpful here if that's quite tight tonight. Equally, if you'd like, you can sit right back. You can draw the hips back, even sitting on a block, a blanket. Mine does a very deep knee bend on your other side. Okay. 2 more breaths. Okay, and then we'll just gently move forward back into your low lunge. Good. Let's take the toes under, curl the toes under at the back and lift that back knee. So we're taking a high lunge. Good. And then we'll work with our transition. So rotate your back foot, bring the heel down. That lifts our hips a wee bit so we can rise up through the arms and come right into a warrior 2. Good. Lovely. If you'd like, you can circle the arms as you breathe, or just hold still, whatever feels best tonight. Excellent. Okay, let's make our way back to our original warrior 2, arm shoulder height, and then we'll lengthen through the front leg. Okay? So taking our Trikonasana triangle pose. All right, both legs long, holding from the hips, and you can bring the hand onto the leg, or you can use a block if you'd like. Back arm rises, or you can bring in the hand to the back of the pelvis. Take a couple more breaths. Okay, and then we'll slowly rise on the next inhale, back to our starting position. Okay, then dropping the arms. From here, rotate your front foot so that your toes are pointed in the same direction. They're now parallel. I'll turn around so you can see me. So you're actually in a wide leg stance. Okay, so feet are parallel, wide leg stance. There you go. We can use our blocks. We'll come down into a forward bend, okay? Hinging at the hips, so we're long through the leg as we fold forward. And then either allowing the hands just to reach down to the floor or rest on the block. And we'll take a couple of breaths. While you're here, if you'd like to hang through the spine, just folding the elbows, so grabbing hold of your elbows, letting the head hang loose, and just add a little gentle movement from side to side. Okay? Right. We'll take our time to rise up. Lengthen the arms and the spine first, coming into your half lift. Okay? And then we slowly rebuild. Stand. Excellent. Good. All right, let's step or hop the feet towards one another and find a mountain pose. And then from here, we'll sit down into chair. So lowering the pelvis, long through that tailbone, hands at the heart. We'll take a few breaths. Good. All right, let's stand up and just kind of recalibrate in the space. If you need to, gathering your blocks and putting them at the top of the mat. Okay? And we'll take our mountain pose standing. Excellent. All right, we'll work our way back down now through that sequence. So we'll do it backwards on the other side, all right? So the leg that was forward before now steps back. We'll start in our triangle leg, okay? So both fully extended, both nice and long. Arms come up to shoulders, and then fold forward when you're ready, either reaching for your block or the leg. In classical vinyasa, they tend to turn the head up, so you're looking at your fingertips, and that might be fine. But if you do find that's quite strong in the neck or shoulders, just keeping the eyes level to the horizon or even down. 2 more breaths. All right, on your next inhale, lowering that top arm, bend into the front knee, and we'll lift the body up into warrior 2. Good. We'll take about 4 breaths total here. And if you'd like, you can move your arms or just hold the pose. On your next inhale, let's make our way back to the starting position in warrior 2. Okay, good. And then we'll rotate the chest forward. Again, checking in with your blocks if you're using them. You'll want them either side of your feet. All right. Because then what we'll do is rotate that back foot, lift the heel. You're planting the ball of the foot. Front knee still stays bent, and we're in our high lunge. Okay. So we're in our supported high lunge. We've got hands down either to the floor or on the blocks. Take a breath. Okay, and then we'll lower that back knee down. Taking care as you move. Find that length through the spine. And then we can lift when you're ready. Lift through the upper body, hands to the heart, or reaching up overhead. And then sweeping the hands back down to the block or floor. And then we'll take our front leg all the way back. Bring it onto the ball of the foot. Okay, and then we lengthen through the heel just to stretch through the calf at the back of the leg. Okay, so we'll transition into a seated position here, and you can do that however you feel comfortable. If you'd like to play around with bringing the leg forward, okay, you can draw the leg forward, tuck it through, and then bring the hips down to the floor. All right, so that's a transition, but very much just one we're playing around with. rather than anything technical. All right. So finding your comfortable seated position, maybe blocks, we'll do some lateral bending here. So if you want your blocks, you can use them. Otherwise, we'll use the floor. Okay, one hand to the block or floor, other arm rises up, long through the sideways. Good. Let's slowly move to the other side. And a big stretch here. Okay, and then back to the center. Lovely. All right, let's take a twist. Run the arms across the body. Little peek over the back shoulder. Right, and we'll slowly move to the other side, following the breath. And then back to the center. Lovely. All right, let's extend the legs out in front. And we'll take a really soft forward bend. So walking the hands a little bit further down the legs, okay? But we still have space, a little bend in the elbows, okay? And then rounding the spine forward, just dipping down. All right, and then slowly rebuilding, lengthen the arms, walk the hands up, okay? And we'll bend the knees, so the feet are planted out in front of us, hands behind you, and lift up through the chest. We're coming into a little bit of a back bend here. Maybe lifting the chin and the gaze as well. Okay, and then just relaxing that effort, coming back into a neutral spine. All right, and then we're going to take our hands and knees again. So take a tabletop. All right, let's move into a puppy pose. So forearms come down, relaxing the chest, hips stay high. If you'd like, fully extend the arms, forehead to the floor, or kneel. All right, let's slowly rise, lifting from the head, walking hands back in. Good. And then just taking a wide leg stance, so bringing the knees wider than the hips, big toes together, and then sinking the hips back down. So taking a modified child's pose here. All right, good. And then we'll slowly work our way back up on the next breath. Moving forward, keeping the legs in the same position, and then coming down onto the forearms again. So hands are together here to start, or just, the fingertips keep touching. Your elbows are on the floor, forearms are planted. Okay, and then we'll draw the weight forward so that your chest is moving forward from the elbows and then back. Okay, so this is a strengthener for the sort of mid-thoracic back, okay, the middle of the back. And you can do it with the knees planted, so moving forward and then back, okay? Or you can curl your toes under, lift the hips, and then you're drawing forward and back that way. Okay, either way, let's do 10. All right, one breath forward, one breath back. Okay? When you're finished with your 10, coming down onto the knees, and then we'll sit back. Okay? So we need to take a load off the arms for a minute. Maybe moving into the elbows, into the wrists. Taking a couple of sun breaths if you like, and just shake it out. Okay? Lovely. And then when we're ready, we'll take a downward dog. Okay? So back onto hands and knees. If that's feeling quite strong energetically, if you're feeling like not up for it today, just take in a child's pose, or you can even take a crocodile lying down on the floor. Okay? In your downward dog though, really supporting yourself with your hands. Lift those hips nice and high. And we'll take a couple of breaths. Okay. All right. Just lowering down onto knees, and then we'll prepare ourselves for dolphin pose. So forearms come back down. We'll place our hands in a way that we would if we were practicing like a headstand, in this position anyway, this version of headstand, okay? You want to keep your pinkies nice and long. You're not interlacing the pinky finger, okay? And you're really rooting into the side of the wrist. So you're pressing the outside of your hand and your wrist into the floor, okay? Forearms are down, elbows are about shoulder width, although you have to play around so you feel comfortable, okay? And then when you feel solid through your arms and your upper body, and you can curl your toes under and lift the hips. All right, the hips are rising, head is quite close to the floor. Feel like feel like you've got a bit of room there, you can draw your head forward, right down on the floor, between your hands, okay? And then start to walk those feet in. So the hips are coming higher. You even play around a little bit if you want to, but just take care. I'll get my glasses. But if you are playing around with lifting your legs, just take care that you've got space around you. So if you do have a wobble, you won't hit anything hard. Okay, and we'll take a couple more breaths. Now let's really take care as we come out of this, especially if you've had pressure on your head, okay? So taking your time to just gently bring the knees down to the floor, lifting the head, okay? Maybe moving into the shoulders, into the neck if you need to. And that was our peak pose. So from here, we'll start to wind down. Okay. All right. So whenever you're ready, make your way onto your back. And we'll scoot towards the heels and lie back. Just laying comfortably on the floor. Again, maybe rocking across the back of the hip, back of the pelvis. Dropping the knees down to one side if you'd like. And then the other. And then hips or knees back up. Okay. And we'll take a reclined cobbler, reclined bound angle pose. You can use blocks or cushions either side of the hip. Bring the soles of the feet together and the knees open wide. We'll hold this for a few breaths. Okay, let's prepare to slowly move out of that pose. Bringing the knees back together. Okay. So our next pose will be another held pose, okay? Either supported fish, or you can try a classical fish posture without the support underneath your back. Energetically, I would say this time of night, supported fish pose is much calmer because it is a back bend. But you can try the classical fish pose if you'd like, and then just taking a counter pose afterwards. Okay? If you'd like to do supported fish, take your blanket and roll it into a long sort of sausage shape, and we'll put it across the waist. Okay? So across the width of your mat. And this is the one where we lay down with the blanket more or less at the bottom of the shoulder blades, okay? So that you want your arms to come above, rest on the floor, but above the blanket, okay? And bringing the head either to the floor, or if it's not quite reaching, or if it's strong in the neck, we can bring a little support underneath the head. And then we rest and let the chest naturally open. So that's the supported one. If you want to do the classical version, we're lying flat on the floor, tucking hands underneath the thumb, okay? Elbows scoot in. And then from here, really quite strongly lifting up onto the elbows, lift up through the chest, and then we draw the head back and down, okay? so that the upper back is not touching the floor at all. Okay, we're up here. All right. Whichever version suits, making your way there. We'll take 5 breaths. Nice big deep breath. Okay, let's take one more breath. Just taking care to come back into a neutral position. All right, coming off your prop, maybe rolling to the side, and then press your hands back up to a seated position. Okay. Good. All right, so from here, I think we'll take a child's pose now. All right. If you don't find child's pose comfortable, you can always lay on your front in crocodile pose, fully extended, head on the floor. Okay. Child's pose, you can do it as normal, no props, or if you want to, you can use that rolled blanket and maybe some cushions if you've got them in a supported child's pose. Okay, but we'll just counterbalance the back bend we were doing there in fish pose. We'll take about 10 breaths. Okay, so on your next natural inhale, start to come out of the pose. Slowly rebuilding. Okay. And then we'll take a legs up the wall or an elevated leg pose. Okay. So either on your sofa, your bed, or if you've got some wall space. Okay. You need to sit side on to the wall, so one hip against the wall, and then sort of shuggle the legs up into place, and then allowing the arms to relax at the side or bring the hands to the body, whatever works best. You can elevate the hips even if you'd like. And we'll take some breath. Let's take 5 more breaths. Very gently draw out of posture. And we can get ready for relaxation. As always, making yourself comfortable in whatever way feels best. Making sure your body feels fully supported. You're in a position you feel you can stay in stillness for the next few minutes. Of course, if you need to move at any time, you can. Start tuning into the sensation of breath. Notice how the breath feels through the lungs. Becoming more aware of the body as it settles into stillness and rest. Feeling the support beneath you. Becoming aware of what's happening in the mind. Observing with some distance. Watching as the thoughts arise. Allowing them space. And letting them go. Maybe checking in with yourself. Coming back to the breath. You've drifted off to sleep. You're caught up in thought. Reset back to the sensations of breath. Start again. Now beginning to deepen breath. Bring in a little bit more air and exhale, sigh, or breathe out. Be adding in some movement. Taking a little bit of stretching if you'd like. Okay, and then whenever you are ready, making your way back to seated position. Thank you. Everybody all right?